Hey, what's going on, guys? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. So it's been a few days now since the Pacquiao Tim Bradley rematch. It was a great fight. I watched it, and then right after I watched it, I did my post-fight video, and then right after that, I went on YouTube and I went on Twitter. I wanted to see everybody's thoughts and opinions on the fight. I went on YouTube and I watched everybody I subscribed to, you know, the usual people everybody subscribed to on, you know, Carcino, 78 Sports, Boxing Beats and Rhyme, D-Style, Ego, The Wire. You know, I watched all of their videos after I had already made my video. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make my video first, and then I want to give my thoughts out there how I see it. I don't want to watch their videos and be influenced by what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? So I watched their videos, and I was a little surprised by the way they saw the fight. You know, they saw it a little differently. You know, a lot of them thought the fight was either a draw. Some people thought Bradley won the fight. You know, some people still pick Pacquiao to win, but a lot of people had it a lot closer than I originally what I originally said. Now, on if you didn't see my post-fight video, I said that I had Pacquiao winning 8-4. I made a mistake. What I meant to say was Pacquiao won it 7-4 with one draw. All right, I think I did say that there was a draw, but that's what I meant to say. Okay, 7-4, and I had one round of draw. Okay, so the next morning I watched the fight again. I watched it on mute. This is going to be the last time. That was the second time and the last time I watched the fight. I didn't think the fight was nearly as hard to call as the first fight. I thought the first fight was a lot harder to call the rounds. I think this fight was just as close, but I think the rounds were a little bit more easier to pick. You know, I think they were a lot more easier on the eyes. I think it's because of the volume of punches was a lot less than the first fight from both fighters. So it was a lot more easier to decide who won each round. You know, I think it was a lot more clear. Now, when I watched it again, the score was close. I gave Bradley one more additional round. I think basically Bradley won the first half of the fight. That had Pacquiao winning the second half of the fight. But I still gave Pacquiao that one extra round. I think Pacquiao still won the fight overall. Now, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on the fight. I don't think I did enough in the first video. I was very excited. I'm not gonna lie, I was very happy that Pacquiao won the fight because even though I've grown to be a Tim Bradley fan, I actually became a fan of his after the Pacquiao fight. I still kind of wanted Pacquiao. Me personally, I was kind of leaning towards Pacquiao for this one. Even though I said on camera that Bradley would win, I wanted Pacquiao to win because I didn't want this to be his last fight. I didn't want it to be the end of his career. You know, I still wanted to see. I still want to see the Floyd Mayweather fight. You know, I still want to see a Marquez 5 fight, and I still actually want to see a Bradley 3 fight. You know, I think these guys made a trilogy just as good. You know, these guys are starting to get to the point where they can make a trilogy just as good as the Marquez rivalry. So, you know, I watched the fight again, and just wanted to speak on Tim Bradley. I started speaking with Tim Bradley. I thought the way Tim Bradley fought the first round was the way he was going to fight for the entire fight. This is the second fight in a row where Bradley didn't use, second fight against Pacquiao. Both fights against Pacquiao, he just failed to use his footwork throughout the whole fight. I thought the game plan of how he fought in the first round of both fights were like how I thought it expected Bradley to fight throughout the whole fight, the entire fight. It seemed like, you know, as soon as Pacquiao turned it up in the second round, Bradley went into this slugging mode where he wanted to just throw power shots, which he did well. He did pretty good. I think he was winning. And I love the body shots that he was giving Pacquiao. The body shots were really, really good. But the thing with Bradley is that's not the fight that that's not the way he fights. I did see some training videos, and from what I seen in the videos, it didn't look like he was preparing to fight that way. So maybe they wanted certain things to be on camera, certain things that I don't know how he prepared to fight. But it seemed like the plan was working out for him the first half, even though he wasn't fighting the way that I expected him to. The power shots were working. You know, he was a lot more efficient this time, and you know, they were landing and they were hard punches. He actually hurt Pacquiao in the 4th round. And, you know, I thought he was, you know, when he was saying he was going for the knockout, I thought he was joking. He actually was going for it. But the problem is, when you're not used to fighting that style, your energy is drained. You're not usually fighting that way. You know, you usually use your jab, you use a lot of movement. You counter a lot more often. And by halfway through the fight, you know, before that, Tim Bradley started to show a lot of fatigue. And, you know, a lot of that kind of, when you're throwing those kind of punches and you're using all of your force into every single punch you throw, it's going to take its toll on you, you know. And he fatigued very, very early in the fight. And Pacquiao took over. You know, I think Pacquiao took over in the second half of the fight. I think Pacquiao tried to... well, let me start talking about Pacquiao now. I think Pacquiao wasn't doing too much in the first half, but he had his moments here and there. But in the second half is when he shined. Tim Bradley was a lot more tired, and Pacquiao, I feel like Pacquiao game plan was to conserve more. Like, the volume punches were lower, but I think he wanted to conserve more energy. He wanted to be better in the second half of the fight, which he was, okay? And this is why he won the fight. I mean, Bradley won the first fight because he was better in the championship rounds, but Pacquiao was better the entire second half of the fight. And I watch, you know, I see a lot of people's opinions, and a lot of people are disappointed with Pacquiao's performance. You know, they still don't think that it's not the Pacquiao that they want. This is the problem that I have with that. I think people need to accept, people want to relive the days of the 2008-2009 Manny Pacquiao, and they want to go back into those glory days of when he was just knocking everyone out. He is older now. He's 35 years old. He doesn't have the speed and the power that he had. He's still a very good fighter. He's still one of the best at the division. He's still one of the best, period. If you learn to accept that he is older, I don't think it's all about the fire and he doesn't have the interest and his religion. Everyone's blaming it on all of these things except the fact that he's older. He's a lot older now. He can't throw 1,000 punches per fight. He just can't do it, you know. And you got to remember, he only did 560 in this fight. But in his fight with Brandon Rios, he threw almost 800. He can throw a lot of punches, but against a Tim Bradley, he figured that that wasn't the smartest way to beat Bradley because he was gassed out by the second half of the fight. The championship, not the second half, but the championship rounds, he was tired, you know, and that's why Bradley, you know, pulled off the win. Whether or not you thought he won or not, you know, I thought, me personally, my final decision with the first fight was that it was a draw. But it could have gone either way, you know. But people need to accept the fact that Pacquiao isn't what he was. But you guys got to show a lot more respect. And the reason why I said this is the best Pacquiao I've seen, because I'm basing it on a level of competition that he's fighting here. He is fighting a guy a lot of people consider to be top 5 pound for pound. He is fighting a guy that is in his prime, a guy that's undefeated, a guy that's a lot more younger than he is, okay? And Tim Bradley. All right, look at the first fight. Look how close the first fight was. All right, 2 years later, Pacquiao's 2 years older, and he was still able to beat Tim Bradley. You know, or if you don't think he deserved the win, you at least can admit the fight was very close. You know what I'm saying? If you don't think Pacquiao won, look at the level that he's fighting at his age. Okay, he's 35, and not only is he 35, he's not in his prime no more. Like, we know that. Like, well, I know that. You know, I don't know about... There are some delusional Pacquiao fans that feel like he's still the knockout king and he was going to go in this fight and knock out Tim Bradley. That's the delusional. Like, whoever thought Pacquiao was just going to go in there and knock this guy out, is a little delusional, okay? But he still has speed. He still has power. He still has enough to pull off a win against Bradley, a guy that's still in his prime. No one's beaten Bradley yet. You know, Bradley just came off a good, clear win against Marquez. You know? So, how can you slander him when he just beat Bradley? No one's beaten Bradley. You know what I'm saying? Not too many people, I think, can beat Tim Bradley. You know? Floyd Mayweather, for sure, but I'm not really sure about anybody else in the division. You know, I'm not really sure. So... you gotta respect him, you know. I mean, you gotta respect it. If this was 2008, 2009 Pacquiao, the guy that you want to see, the guy that had the fire and the knockout power and the killer instinct, if he had all of that, it wouldn't have been close. He's fighting, Tim Bradley is fighting an older Pacquiao. If he fought Pacquiao from 2009, it wouldn't have been close. Look how close it is now. And he doesn't even have the knockout power that he had. He's still fighting at a very high level. And this is what I mean by this was a great performance by Manny Pacquiao, because of the level of competition. You know what I'm saying? This is a better performance. He won against Brandon Rios every round. But this is a better performance because of the level of competition here. This is why it's such a great win, in my opinion. Now, Floyd Mayweather. Because I'll speak very briefly on this. If you think Floyd Mayweather would destroy Manny Pacquiao based on this performance, that's fine. That's fine. That's cool. Listen, at this point, I don't think Manny Pacquiao could beat Floyd Mayweather, right? Not at this age. If this was 2008 and 2009, I think out of all the welterweights that we've seen over the years, the only one that would have maybe possibly beaten Floyd was the 2009 Pacquiao. Okay? That's gone. Today, I don't know. You know, I don't really think Pacquiao is still on Floyd Mayweather's level today. But that doesn't mean the fight shouldn't happen. The fight should happen. Without a doubt. These guys are rivals and they never fought. These guys... It doesn't mean just because you think Floyd, or just because you don't think Pacquiao is good, but he would get destroyed by Floyd Mayweather. Okay, well, that doesn't stop the fact that they should still fight. If Floyd Mayweather goes in there and knocks Pacquiao out the first round, doesn't mean the fight should happen. The fight should still happen. Let us see. Let us be the judge by viewing the fight. Let's see the fight. You know, you can't slander him because of the fact that, you know, he doesn't look good. Yeah, he looked good against Bradley. Bradley is good. Like, Bradley is top 5 pound for pound. Bradley's never lost. He's beaten Pacquiao and Marquez, on paper at least. You know, he's beaten a whole bunch of people. So, I don't understand why people are disappointed with the performance of Manny Pacquiao. He won the fight. And it was a good fight. It was a very good fight. And I thought it was better than the first fight. I like this fight a lot more. And I hope these fight guys eventually, they, you know, in the sportsmanship, in the level, like, you could tell these guys really respect each other, have a lot of love for each other. You know, it gives me that, you know, that Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti feeling. You know, these guys have a lot of respect for each other. And I'm looking forward to them fighting once again. You know, hopefully they fight once again. I'm pretty sure they will. You know, because I think Pacquiao's going to stay over there in Top Rank. I don't think he's going anywhere, you know. I still kind of doubt the Floyd Mayweather fight will happen, but I think it still happen. It should happen. So anyway, I just wanted to get my final thoughts out there. You know, I think Pacquiao was an impressive win for his age at this point. I think that was a very impressive win against an extremely high-level fighter, one of the best fighters out there right now. I thought he beat him. It was close, but I thought he won the fight. And that's just my thoughts on it, you know. So leave more comments. It's my last time speaking on it. Peace.